Okay, Year 7, welcome back to Lesson 5. We're going to get in and we're actually going to do quite a few events today. So, again, remembering how to open up your document, we want to go to Cloud, make sure this says Google Drive at the top. Now, because I've only just very recently opened up mine opens up straight away. So, for you, you are going to remember that you have to log in, and then you should be able to go into Computer Studies folder, open up your C3P file. Same as we'll be doing every lesson. Okay, so last lesson, if we remember, we actually changed a few things. So we made sure that the bullet ended up coming out of the gun rather than the player's head. We also changed the background of the explosion, so it no longer has a black box around it. We also added an event that had one condition with 3 actions in it. Now, for today, we're going to add in quite a few events into our page. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our monsters just a little bit smarter. Because if I play this at the moment, and we just watch, so we'll just follow these little guys here. So you'll notice that the monsters kind of just walk off the page. So that's the end of the page there. Monsters just walk forward and then get to the end of the page and then just kind of disappear off the page. So what we actually want to do is we want to redirect them. We want them to stay within the guide of the layout, which is this page here. So if we go to our event page, first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a new event. So remembering add event down the bottom here, which is a condition. We're going to change the system. So system for me. And then we actually want this to happen as soon as we open up our game. So we're looking for on start of layout. So if you just start to type in on start, it should come up here. So what this means is as soon as the game loads in, it should do the action. So we then want to go over to add action. Now what we're doing is we want the monster to do something. So we're going to actually choose the monster. So going into the monster. And then what we actually want it to do is we want it to hit the edge of the layout, so the edge of the page, and we want it to bounce back. So we're going to say on start of layout, we want it to set an angle of a completely random degree. So when it first starts up, they should be walking in every direction. So we're going to go in and we're going to type in for the angle. Instead of just typing in 360, which means it will just spin in circles, we want it to do it at random. So we're going to actually type in random, and you'll notice it actually should just come up for you, and you should be able to hit enter. And then in brackets, so in the normal brackets, we have to put a range. So our range is going to be a full circle. So if we remember our maths, a full circle is 360, and then making sure we close the bracket. You'll notice now that your random should become black, and the 360 inside the brackets will become either pink or purple, depending on how your screen looks. And then we're going to click done. So now if I hit play, you'll notice that the monsters walk in any direction. It doesn't mean that they walk straight from where I've placed them. So if I go back to my layout, they're all facing this direction. Now they walk in any direction that they want when you first start up. Next thing we're going to do is make sure that they're angled back into the layout if they decide to walk off of the layout. So we are going to add a new event, and because we're working with the monster, we want the monster to stay inside the layout. We're going to go with monster. Now our condition is that the monster is going to walk off of the page. So we're going to go type in is outside of layout. If you just type in outside, it should come up. It's the only one. So is outside of layout. So once the monster steps outside the layout, this is the action that should occur. Back into action, and we're going with monster. And then we want the monster to actually redirect towards the player, because that is what makes it a little bit more difficult. That way you can actually shoot them as they come towards you or try to swarm you. So the action that we're looking for is set angle towards position. Easiest way to find this one is to just start typing in position, and it should appear set angle towards position. Now there's a couple of set angles, which is why I say maybe type in position, just so that we don't go set position or set position towards another object. They do completely different things. So we want set angle towards position. It should be under the angle little tab there. So set angle towards position and next. Now the angle that we want to have our monsters walk in is actually towards our player. So the same way as we made our player follow our mouse, we're going to make our monster follow our player. So last time when we made our player follow the mouse, we typed in mouse and then .x and .y for each one of these little boxes. Same thing, we are going to type in player.x and then player.y over here. So player should be able to pop up there for you, .x and player.y. So all this means that, remembering your graph from maths, so you know, you've got your x value and your y value, it's going to follow the x and y axis of where your player is. That means that if your player moves around the game, it will know that you're moving around the game. So that's why we go with an x and y axis, because you are not going to stay in the same position for the whole game, or else you could do a specific position that it goes towards. Alright, and then we're going to hit done. Now if I hit play, your monsters shouldn't move towards you yet until they hit the edge, and then they come and follow you. See, this one's hit the edge, that one's hit the edge, that one's hit the edge. They're all coming towards you. They will still walk in a direct line though. So you'll notice that if you move, they won't move with you. They still walk in a line. That's because of the behavior we gave them, which is the bullet behavior. So you can still move out of the way, and that makes it so that you can actually play the game. And then you can destroy them. Okay, at this point, we are going to hit the save button. Remembering next to the menu, save. Make sure the little thing at the bottom appears, and make sure this goes grey. Okay, so just to recap, if we read through our event sheet, we've learnt that this side is a condition, and that this side on the right-hand side are the actions. Now, this is really important to remember, and to remember which order they go in and what they're made up of. We can also have things called sub-events, which we won't be doing in this game in particular, but it will be a part of your assessment. So you can have an event where there is actually two events happening at the same time. Again, this won't be in our game, but it is important to remember for your quiz. So you can have sub-events, and then we can also have multi-actions. So we can have multiple actions going on. If we read through this game, at the moment, this is what is occurring in our game. We have system every tick. So every time your computer ticks over, so a computer has what we call a tick, that every time it goes off, your computer reloads. It's a really, really fast, as you can tell, because you think about it, if it wasn't, you'd have a really laggy mouse, you'd have a really laggy system of your computer. So every time the system ticks over, your player goes towards your mouse. Therefore, it follows your mouse. Your mouse, when you click with the left button, which is your normal click, a bullet spawns out of the gun. The bullet, when it collides with the monster destroys, the explosion spawns in, and the bullet gets destroyed. When you start up the layout, so when you first hit the play button, the monsters have a random angle that they start to walk in. And then the last event that we've added on here is when the monster hits the edge of the layout, which is the full page, it should set its angle back towards the player so that we're actually playing a game where monsters are chasing us. Alright. I'm actually going to leave this one here today because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into actually creating some health for our monsters, which means that it's going to make it a little bit harder to kill them. And then I'm actually going to get you to see if you can do a challenge for me in this. And I will give you the answer to the challenge in the next lesson as well. But for now, just making sure that you've saved. I know this lesson's a little bit shorter than usual, but I also think that I've talked faster than usual. Remember that if you are finding you are falling behind, this is a video. You can pause and go back and look at it again and go back. So that is what it is for. If you have any questions, remember that you can ask your teacher or any other problems. All right, should be good for today.